Hey, what's up, people? Okay, so we're going to continue where we left off working with SQLite. And okay, so I was testing multiple select all. Save data where object name is in some tuple that includes all of these object names, and that is going to allow us. That did allow us to grab everything we wanted to grab. Then we used fetch all. So if we just did fetch one, would only give us the first one, right? Let's go down here. Let's delete this file. Let's run this again. Okay, so you see we have this list printing out. Let's change this to be fetch 1. And I think we have to delete this again. Alright, so we're gonna run it. And there you go. That gives us the first result, which would be I don't know why it just data 1 first whenever P1 score is actually first. So yeah, that's super. I have expected it to return the first one first, you know what I mean? I don't know if it like sorts it alphabetically, something like that, but I don't. That's what it does. Yeah. Okay, so let's look at what we had prompted previously. In SQLite, you can check if a create object is a binary large object or a blob, the type function, or by checking its Python type. And here are the two approaches. So we can do isInstance row 0 bytes, or do SQLite 3 instance row 0 SQLite 3 dot binary. It is when working potentially large blobs, you might want to combine this with a check for null. Data is turned up if isInstance. Why would we check for is none prior to handling large blobs. 2, we want to ask about object name to be a list instead. Forgot to set our timer here. What was the third? We had another question. Oh. Can't we use if row 0, if type row 0 is equal to okay, so we have number 1. We check for none first because it's a very cheap operation, minimal memory CPU usage. If we try to check is instance none bytes, it would work but be less efficient. Most importantly, if we have nullable columns, we want to handle the null case before attempting to process a large blob. This prevents unnecessary memory allocation for null values. I don't really understand, like, a very large object with null values. For SQL in clauses, tuples are preferred over lists because SQLite parameter substitution specifically expects tuples for in clauses. Use a list, you would need to convert it. There would actually be parameters. Yes, you can use if type row bytes, but this instance is generally preferred because inheritance. A class inherits bytes. Okay. It's more Pythonic and follows the EAFP, easier to ask forgiveness than permission. How does this... What is that? Easier to ask forgiveness than permission principle? Easier to ask for forgiveness. Permission. I don't understand. I don't know what that principle is. It can check for multiple types. It's the recommended approach in Python style guidelines. Really? Is it? I mean, that's fine. I just... So type is essentially deprecated according to PHP. easier to ask for forgiveness than permission is actually not directly relevant to is instance versus type. I apologize for that confusion. I was incorrect. EFP is a Python coding style where you attempt an operation and catch exceptions rather than checking conditions. Attempt an operation and catch exceptions rather than checking conditions beforehand. Oh. Okay, so really you should use try except over if else. No, type is not deprecated. Both type and instance are valid and have different use cases. The exact type of an object isn't as checked if an object is of a type or any subclasses. So if you have a class myBytes, which is bytes. Okay, so if it would be myBytes, and then it would say true because myBytes inherits from bytes. In the blob chain case, is instance is preferred because of custom blob types that inherit from bytes. Either method would work checking basic bytes objects. I apologize for suggesting it was a style guideline issue. It's more for being more flexible with inheritance. Okay. Okie dokie. Yeah, that's good. Move on. Yeah, so object passed to in must be tuple. So we wanted to test check. Table save data add column ID integer check greater than or equal to 0. And we have cursor execute update save data set ID is equal to placeholder, and in this case we say -1. Let's see what we get here, if it works. Okay, cool, so it worked. It failed the integrity error. It failed the check because we passed -1. But if we did +1, +1, and it works. Well, let's do an execute select. So we'll say select all from save data, where object name is equal to, and then we pass in P1 score. There we go. And then we'll do print fetch 1. Well, no, we don't want to do fetch 1. Well, actually, hold up. Save data object name values. Oh, I'm an idiot. I'm thinking of, I'm dumb. Why does this not work? So we create the table, we alter the table to add the column. We insert into save data object name values, or value on conflict object name, and we update the set value equal to 1. We say save data set ID where object name is equal to, so then we pass in 1 for the ID, and then object name would be P1 score. And then we do select all from save data where object name is equal to, and then we pass 4. I don't understand this. This do not make sense to me. This is not working. Yeah, this is not right. Why is it not returning the proper thing? But whenever I do select all from save data, just straight up, why does that work? This is pissing me off. Why is this not working? Insert to save data, object name values on object name. Update value 1 and name, the object name is P1 score. Same thing. And it works here. Select all from save data where object name is equal to question mark P1 score. I just don't get it. Why doesn't this work? What's the deal? Oh man, please. Oh god, I'm so dumb. So dumb. Mere typo. A mere typo, boys. It was underscore instead of dot. That's how it gets you right there. Later might not catch the specific database string mismatch since they're runtime data issue rather than a code syntax issue. However, there are several practices that can help prevent these issues. Yeah, so basically just don't be an idiot. Okay, so it's working now. And okay, yeah, so that's how you do that. Insert it and then update. And we're checking how this works actually. The check key. So this again. Alright, there we go. So we get P1 score 2001 because we added a column ID with integer check. Then we inserted into the save data score, which they didn't even have that done. And then we update this ID to be 1, E1 score, and then okay, and a question I have is if we had multiple entries in there, well, and then we select all from save data where object name is equal to P1 score. So technically, if we did this and there were multiple rows with this entry, would it update all of those rows? Yes, if there are multiple rows where object name is equal to P1 score, the update statement will set ID equals 1 for all of those rows. This is because the where clause matches all rows that satisfy the condition, not just the first one it finds. If you want to limit it to updating just one row, you could add a limit clause. So that's where limit comes in. Limit limits the amount of rows, or if you need to be more specific about which row to update, you need additional conditions in your where clause. Or if that was the primary key, if you searched by the primary key, since there could only be one primary key. Gotcha. Okay, and I noticed that didn't I already ask that about the order? Let's see. I thought I already asked this.
So you have come this far, and still you understand nothing. This world has been connected.
What was that?
Tied to the darkness. Soon to be completely eclipsed. There is so very much to learn.
Select from save data where object names equal. Okay, did I ask about it? I thought I already asked this. Oh man, like I just went to the wrong one.
Nothing.
Where are we at here? Select from save data. No. Okay. Let's see, where was this? If we have this inserted first, but it didn't retrieve it first. this is the one I wanted. There we go. So we have the object name tuple, and it's P1 score, data 1, data 2, data 3, but it returns it in a different order. It returns it in data 1, data 2, data 3, and then P1 score. So why does this get returned last? Why does this result in D1, 2, 3 appearing before P1 score? The order of the results from the SQL select query without an order by clause is not guaranteed. The database engine will return rows in whatever order is most efficient for it to retrieve them, which might not match the order in your in clause. The order of results from a SQL select query without an order by clause is not guaranteed. SQL select query without an order by clause is not guaranteed. The database engine will return rows in whatever order is the most efficient for it to retrieve them, which might not match the order in your in clause. If you want the results to match the order of your tuple, you need to use order by. So you say select where object in order by case. Okay, so we need to use an example of that as well. So let's put this in here. Alright, I'll be right back. I'm gonna go take a little break. I'm gonna go stretch and walk. I'm gonna take a little walk real quick. I'll be right back.
these weird thoughts lately. Like, is any of this for real? Or not? Whoa!
Gosh, it looks kind of different now.
Maybe everything we've done, maybe it was all for nothing. The Keyblade chosen one. He's a lucky kid.
Yeah. The other side. The realm of light is safe now. Kyrie, the king, and the others are there.
That's what I mean.
think I was hungry. I don't know, I ate a good bit though. Thought I ate plenty. But maybe not. I just feel, I don't know, like anxiety. I can't sit still and just like work, you know? I don't know why exactly. Might just be stuff going on in my life, you know? I got court tomorrow. Maybe I'm just nervous about that. Can't really tell. Okay. All right, let's. I really wanna. I don't really want to do this. I don't want to do this sequel. I want to take a little break. I want to instead actually work on the project here. So basically, as long as we're, so as long as we use the primary key as the search parameter, it so yeah, if we use the primary key as search parameter, it should return only one array. Yes, primary key by definition must be unique in SQL, so yes. If you search using the primary key as your where condition, you are guaranteed to get either exactly one row or no rows. This is one of the main purposes of primary keys. They uniquely identify a single row in the table. If you try to insert a duplicate primary key value, SQLite will raise an integrity error. Gotcha. Alright, so in refactored structure, let's go over here. So we need to create the database, establish connection to the database, and, well, we don't have to do that actually because we're using SQLite. So we'll go up here and we're gonna say import SQL, says import SQLite 3, I think that's how we do this, right? And then we would go here and let's see, how do we do this exactly? Let's put SQLite test over here. So we have our example file. Okay. So we need to do, well, should we do that in this file? Oh, well, yeah, I think so. Yeah. So we should say we'll call it db equals SQLite 3 dot connect, and we'll have the save file db. So it's going to create our, we'll create the db file if it doesn't exist. And then we want to create the table. So then we're gonna do, well, we need to get our cursor. Say C equals con dot cursor. And then what? Okay, so now we need to create the table. So we'll do well, we first need to get the settings set up. Need to set the journal mode to write ahead logging. So we'll do c.execute. Pragma journal mode equals WAL. And then we'll copy this. I don't like this being called C. I just don't like it. So we'll do cursor instead. And then we want to retrieve those settings, so we can just copy this. Well, actually, I don't want to copy, so we'll do cursor execute, and we're gonna pragma. Journal mode, and then synchronous. Alright, so now we need to create our table. I mean, I could just do this on one line. I don't have to. I would rather do it on one line, I think. Okay, yeah, so that works. So we can do it on one line or multiple multi-line. I prefer single line. It's just, in my opinion, um, easier to read. Create table if not exist. Save data, object name, text parameter. I mean, I just don't like the syntax of the parentheses and all that on multi-line. It's just, it looks terrible, honestly. This is much better, the single line option. Okay, so we created that table. Now we're gonna do access the game ID from the save data. Okay, so we're not using a save file string anymore, and so yeah, we're not actually gonna be reading the file in the way that we read the file before. We're actually going to be using the SQL syntax just like we had been, which is going to be select. So we're going to use select here. We're going to get rid of this. We're going to get rid of all that. And instead, we're going to do cursor.execute, right? We need to execute select select object name, or rather, really we want to select the value from save data where object name equals, and we don't have to use placeholders because we know the data is secure, because we're the only one dealing with it. we'll say where object name is equal to game ID. And I guess we'd use double quotes since we're using it in the context of single quotes. So, and we actually don't need the F. So just use select value from save data where object name is equal to game ID. And then we would say well, really we want to check the so we're selecting it, but if it was not entered completely, like if there was no row associated with the object name game ID, then it would select it would return none. It doesn't throw an error. It would just return none, basically. So let's here. So let's try to select without having inserted. So let's do the select and then print and see what it returns. Okay, we have to delete that file. Oh, no such table. Okay, because we didn't create. So let's disable the inserts. Delete the database file, run it again. Okay, so it's going over to 127. And it's doing select value ID, but it says there's no such column ID. Okay. Let's rerun this. There we go. Okay, so it printed out. Let's specify so we know which one we're looking at here. This is going to be we'll say print F, and this is going to be select value, select testing method number 1. Let's rerun it. It's probably going to throw that error. Oh no, it didn't. Okay, cool. So you can see it returns none. Or it prints none, rather. There you go. Select value, select testing method number 1 equals none. So in this case, we would say if cursor dot fetch 1 is equal to none, print true. Let me see if I can run this script. We'll run it with the debugger. 333. Oh, there is no such thing as database. This would be DB. Oh, I see. $352. Okay, so it should have printed out. Oh, because it's at compilation time. It actually won't let me like do the rest. I just want to comment out the rest of this stuff. Now let's run it. Gotta comment all this out too. Wait, what? Oh, because I have try. Gotcha. So I need to get a diff. I need to get a diff of the client file and the client refactor. That's the things to do. After this, we can probably delete the non-refactored section of the refactor py file. Yeah, we're just going to use upsert. We're not going to use prepopulate. Yeah, we're not going to prepopulate because that's just like, that's so much data to prepopulate, man. That's like, I don't even know how we would do that. I mean, we would just give it a null value and like that's fine and all, but I think it's so fast that like doing the pre-population, it's just not worth it, you know? I think it's fast enough in and of itself already to where I just don't feel like we really need to do the I don't think we need to pre-populate it, and that's extra work. I'll leave it. Maybe we will. Maybe we will pre-populate it. Maybe I'll determine that. Yeah, maybe we can do that. You know, maybe that's not as impossible as I'm making it out to be. It would be nice, you know. It would be nice, but maybe we could do a try except couldn't we do try insert and then couldn't we do try insert and then if that because that would throw an error, right? No, it wouldn't. It would just overwrite it. Yeah, because if you insert a primary key that's already been inserted, it doesn't tell you that there's one that already exists. It just overwrites it. Isn't that how that works? If you insert an already existing row, it overwrites that row entirely. Correct? Not exactly. A regular insert will fail with an integrity error if you try to insert a row with a primary key that already exists. Okay, or use replace into. Wait, which one did it say was faster? It says insert on conflict do update. Replace into. Wait, replace into and updater is basically the same thing, right? And if we try to update a non-inserted what happens if we try to update a non-existing row? Try to update a row that exists, the command will execute successfully, but no rows will be affected. It won't raise an error, it will just do nothing. Yeah, so that's not good. Would it be faster to try accept would it be faster to try update a, well, it wouldn't throw an error. So we do try insert accept update, or what's the other one that we're gonna use? Insert on conflict do update. Insert on conflict do update, also known as upsert, would be faster because it's a single database operation instead of potentially two operations. Avoids the overhead of, how could it be potentially two? Avoids the overhead of Python exception handling, eliminates the need for an extra round trip between Python and the database in the error case. So our approach is try, insert into, and then accept update. The upsert approach is not only faster but also atomic. There's no risk of race conditions that could occur between the insert and the update. Kind of benchmark comparing these two approaches. Cause try accept is pretty simple. I didn't think about that, but I mean, like that's pretty simple. It might be faster. Um, See that's what this is what ChatGPT's really, or Claude's really good at. It it's really good at creating little files like this, little test snippets. You know, this would take me like 10 minutes to make this, maybe a little longer, and Chat does it, or Claude does it really fast. So we'll create a new file and we'll call it SQLite upsert versus try accept. Upsert versus try pi. Is that right? Yeah. And then we'll paste this code in. Okay, and then I'm just gonna put at the top. code generated by Claude to test speed of try insert except update versus upsert fastest upsert. And then we'll test that eventually. SQLite upsert versus try pi. We'll say SQLite upsert versus try pi benchmark. Yeah, because I'm curious to see. We'll hold off on that though. So why didn't this work here? So it's saying no such file or directory, deprogramming projects. Oh yeah, it's missing. It's supposed to say projects Canasta assets. Why does it? That's weird. That is bugged. Why would that be bugged? How did that happen? OS path, apps path, OS farther. Okay, so that's got to be fixed, obviously. So what do we normally, we don't use OS path, we use, and we don't use OS path, we use the new, I mean, I'm not gonna change it, it's not that big a deal. OS path join, OS path abs path. And then this is the parent directory. But how does that return deprogramming projects? Shouldn't the parent directory be Canasta? How does this? I'm confused. How does this equal deprogramming projects? If we're running client refactor, and then it's going to setup, and then it's going to custom append list, and then it's going to locations, but then and from locations, OS path, abs path, OS parent directory would be, the parent directory would be Canasta, because main is the directory, so then the parent directory would be Canasta. But it's saying that the parent directory is deprogramming projects, not deprogramming projects Canasta Canasta. So this is strange to me. Does it matter? Oh, it's because of the debugger. I remember this. Yeah. So the path gets messed up when you execute through the debugger. Right, I forgot about this. So we have to actually cd to Canasta. And then we have to do py client refactor. .py. Yeah. So that's something I need to remember. I forget about that. Can't open no such file directory. Oh yeah, we need to cd to main. Now let's do that. Okay, true. Okay, there we go, baby. There we go. Now we got some magic happening. Okay, cool. There it goes. Alright, so it's working. That is the client refactor file. I just ran it. And so it is equal to none, which it should be. So that's how we're going to retrieve the game ID. We're going to retrieve the game ID in that manner. Yeah, so there we go. If current press is equal to none, which it was, then... But what about if we just like, let's remove this select and then let's run it. I can't do it through the debugger. I'm messing up here. I have to do it to cd to Canasta main, and then we have to run it directly from the terminal. Okay, so it's true in that case. So you can fetch one when you haven't selected, and it will fetch one without executing a query, and it still return none. Oh no. That's it's, or is it returning none because I did execute create table prior? In Python, people like to be module fetch one will return none if no query has been executed, regardless of whether you execute a create table. When you call cursor fetch one, it expects that a query has already been run, and it will try to retrieve the next row from the result set of that query. If it's been executed, there is no result set, and it will return. However, if you have it execute a query like create table, no data selected, returns none if there are no results to fetch, either because no query was executed or the query didn't produce any rows. Man, I just feel like that's dangerous, eh? Like, next you need create table query, which is not return results, is a DDL command. Fetch none will return none since there's no data to fetch. Okay, none per true. Okay, so how do I know that my select command execution worked correctly if it will return none in both circumstances, given that I'm trying to figure out if the DB has the associated row. To confirm whether your select query has worked correctly and returned data, if a row exists in the database, you can take the following approaches. Check the result of fetch 1. After executing your select query, check if fetch 1 returns none or a valid row. If it returns a row, that means your query found a matching. Yeah, but I'm saying it means there were no matching rows. Check row count after executing a query. Use the number of rows better or less, which will also be helpful. Cursor row count gives the number of the rows affected by the last query. We can also, for select queries, it gives the number of rows returned. Okay, so we'll do if cursor fetch 1 is equal to none. Well, actually, we'll just do select and then we'll do cursor row count. We'll do print cursor row count. Damn it, I keep doing it from the... Okay, -1. True, and -1 and then true. So how... Oh, this is because we already had the it still does -1. simply means the database driver doesn't know how many rows were returned by the query, which is common for certain types of queries, mostly in SQLite and other lightweight database systems. For select queries is often set to -1 because the database doesn't always track the exact number of rows affected by the select statement until you fetch the results. Bitch! My old friend Gemini, I haven't used you in a while. Exists. Most efficient. The method of generally considered the most efficient way to check for the existence of a row in SQLite. SQL select exists. Select one from your table where column name is equal to value. Replace your table with the actual table name. Replace column name with the name of the column you're checking. Replace value with a specific value you're searching for. This query will return 1 if a row with username John Doe exists in the users table, and 0 otherwise. Okay. Okay, that's cool. Yeah. Okay, I like that. That's great. That's phantasmic. That's beautiful. It's wondrous. Let's do it. Okay, so we're gonna do select. We're not gonna do row count. We're gonna change this select actually. It's gonna be select exists. So we're gonna say select exists, and then select value. Select one from save data where object name is equal to game ID. Okay. And then we'll just do print cursor fetch 1. Down here. Why didn't it print anything? It's not print anything. If name is equal to main. What? Am I tripping here? Is it not entering into this while loop? Did it again. Random true, random true. Okay. So there's something up with my execute here. Dumbass. What an idiot. Wait, get this fucking thing out of here. Okay. Oh, I'm dumb. Yeah, I'm dumb. Dumb. There we go. Okay. So yeah, it says it'll return 1 if a row with username exists. But if it comes back 0, like it is, then we know it doesn't exist. So that's how we're gonna check for it. So we'll do cursor execute select exists, and then we'll say if cursor fetch 1 at 0 is equal to 0, if select exists returns 0 means it doesn't exist. If it does, it will return 1. So then if we do cursor execute insert, so let's make sure it does exist. So we'll do insert so cursor execute insert into save data. object name values when conflicts object name do update insert into save data. And then we want to set it to, what is it called? Game ID. Game ID, and then we'll just put 1 or 20, whatever. Alright, now if we run this, it should select 1 from save data where object name is equal to game ID. And we did game underscore ID, just like that. And if we run this, 347. Okay. Comment that out. What's the deal? Why is it? Oh, because we didn't there we go. Okay, because it does exist. Cool. But if we delete the database file, wherever it is, the fuck is it? Oh, it's right here. Okay. If we delete that and then rerun it, it's gonna be 1. Okay. But then if we delete it again, and then we remove this insert, now it should return 0. See? Okay, cool. Yeah. Alright. So now we can go back over here, and we know that works. We're not going to insert because we don't, that was just to test it. So we select exists. Alright. Select exists, select 1 from save data where object name is equals game ID. If cursor fetch 1 at index 0 is equal to 0. If select is return 0, it means it doesn't, if it doesn't return 1. So then we'll do print true. Okay, so now let's run it again and it should print true. There we go. Okay, so it's working. DB determines if row at primary key game ID exists. So if it does it return 1. So if it returns 0, then that means row doesn't exist, aka game ID has not been saved to save file. Yeah. And then we'll say else. This would be elif cursor fetch 1. Well, and we'll assign this so we don't have to recall it. So we'll do we'll call it game ID exists equals, and and then we say if game ID exists is equal to 0, put that right there. Game ID exists, cursor fetch 1. If game ID exists is equal to 0, it doesn't exist. Either if game ID exists is equal to 1 means game ID has been saved to save file previously, aka this is a reconnect. Okay. Alright, cool, so that's where we're gonna stop. So we got a snippet for this and stopped here. And then we'll put the date, which is 2/11/25. So it's line 352 in client refactor. there we go. So let's cd out to the root directory. And we're gonna do git branch. We're gonna get add dot. Oops, get add dot. Git commit dash m. Now this is 334 to 545. So that's 2 hours. So that's 3.5 hours total. Cool. Alright, now we paste this in. There we go. So we have 8 files changed, 607 insertions, 393 deletions. We renamed save file to Canasta main save file. We created SQLite upstart versus tripod. Gotcha. So then we're gonna git push Canasta secondary. There we go. Okay, cool. Alright, there we go. So now we're done with this and we can go ahead and make a local backup. So let's do that. We'll do a local backup real quick. So let's go here. Back out. We're going to delete this one. Let's paste that one in. We're going to enter into it. We're going to go to text, devlog, we're going to go to end. 25, that is today's date. Okay, cool. So everything's good to go. Now we just have to change this to reflect today's date. And that's it, guys. Have a good day, and I'll see you next time.